Okay, let's jump right in. When we talk about project management, it's so easy to get lost in the weeds of Gantt charts, burn-down charts, and all the latest software. But what really, truly makes a project fly or fail? Today we're going to look past the tools and dig into the core qualities, the essential mindsets that separate a good project manager from a genuinely great one.
I mean, this quote from Eli Goldratt's Critical Chain, it probably hits a little too close to home for a lot of us, right? It just perfectly captures that constant struggle against chaos, delays, and blown budgets that defines so many projects. This is the reality project managers operate in, which makes their role absolutely mission critical.
So, here's the big question. If everyone's up against the same challenges, what's the secret sauce for the ones who consistently pull it off? Well, it's not about being a wizard with a particular piece of software. It's about embodying a set of core qualities. For this explainer, we're going to frame these as 4 different hats or archetypes that a great project manager knows how to wear and when.
So here's our game plan. We'll start by looking beyond the charts. Then we'll dive into our 4 key roles: the steward and visionary, the systems thinker, the people champion, and the pragmatic adapter. And finally, we'll pull it all together to see what the complete project manager looks like.
First up, the steward and visionary. You got to think of this as the bedrock, the foundation of it all. It's about taking ownership with real integrity while also giving everyone a clear, motivating direction to rally behind. Let's break down this idea of stewardship, using the official definition from the project management body of knowledge. See, it's not just about watching the budget. It's about integrity, care, and trustworthiness. A great PM gets that their responsibility is bigger than just the project. It extends to the organization, to the stakeholders, and sometimes even to society as a whole.
And that's one half of the foundation. The other half is being the visionary. A clear vision isn't just some fluffy statement you hang on the wall. It's a powerful, practical tool. It takes all the complexity and boils it down into a simple, goal-driven plan. It becomes the team's North Star, a written reference point so critical decisions aren't just based on who remembers what from a meeting 3 weeks ago. It keeps everyone pulling in the exact same direction.
Now, once you have that foundation of vision and integrity, it naturally leads us into our second archetype, the systems thinker. This is all about taking that 30,000-foot view and understanding that a project isn't just a to-do list, it's a living, breathing, interconnected system.
You've all heard this saying, right? It's the perfect way to think about this. A project really is like a chain. It's a series of steps that depend on each other. And it doesn't matter how strong all the other links are, the entire chain is only as strong as its single weakest link. That right there is the heart of systems thinking.
So that weakest link in a project, it has a technical name, a bottleneck, or a constraint. This can be anything: a key person who's overloaded, a piece of equipment, a slow approval process. Whatever it is, it's the one thing that limits the speed of the entire system. And that makes it the single most important place to focus your attention, because making improvements anywhere else is frankly just an illusion.
This chart really shows 2 completely different mindsets. The cost worldview tries to make every little piece efficient on its own. But a systems thinker, they live in the throughput world. They know that the #1 job is to protect the flow of work through that bottleneck. Why? Because an hour of time lost at the bottleneck is an hour lost for the entire project, and you can never get it back. So, to sum it all up, a systems thinker gets that everything is connected. They focus on balancing the flow of work, not just making sure everyone looks busy. And they're always aware that the project doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's constantly interacting with things both inside and outside the company. They manage the whole, not just the pieces.
Which brings us to our third archetype. And you could argue it's the most important one of all, the people champion. Because let's be real, projects don't get done by processes or software, they get done by people.
In the absolute classic book, Peopleware, the authors talk about the ultimate goal of team leadership, which is creating a gelled team. This isn't just a team that kind of gets along. No, this is a group that has serious momentum. They're so in sync that the whole truly becomes greater than the sum of its parts. They basically become an unstoppable force for getting things done.
So how do you actually get there? Well, it's not about forcing everyone to go bowling together. It's about deep, fundamental behaviors. The Agile Manifesto says it perfectly. Build projects around motivated individuals and trust them to get the job done. The PMBOK guide talks about showing empathy, really listening, and empowering your team. A people champion doesn't build the team, they create the environment where the team can build itself.
Okay, last but not least, we have our 4th archetype, the pragmatic adapter. Because as they say, no plan survives contact with reality. Great project managers don't just blindly follow a plan, they know how and when to adapt.
Here you can see the two major philosophies side by side. The predictive or waterfall approach is great when everything is stable and you know exactly what you need to build. But how often does that actually happen? In today's world, the adaptive or agile approach is often key. It assumes things will change and uses frequent, small deliveries to get feedback and adjust on the fly.
Ah, this diagram. It's a classic from Fred Brooks's The Mythical Man Month. It shows the most common, the most intuitive, and usually the most disastrous thing you can do when a project starts falling behind: panic and just throw more people at the problem. And this reaction leads directly to what's famously known as Brooks's Law. But why? Well, think about it. The time it takes for new people to get up to speed, plus all the extra meetings and communication needed to coordinate, that overhead often eats up more time than the new people actually save. It's a classic trap, and a pragmatic adapter knows to steer clear of it.
So what does this adapter's mindset actually look like in practice? It's about being okay with a little bit of ambiguity, especially at the beginning. It's about actively looking for change and enabling it instead of fighting it. And it's all about using short, quick cycles to get constant feedback so you can adjust your course before you get too far down the wrong path.
So, we've walked through these 4 powerful archetypes, but how do they all fit together? Well, that brings us to our grand finale, the complete project manager.
And this is really the most crucial point of all. You don't just pick one of these and say, "That's me." True mastery is in the balancing act. It's about having the wisdom to know which hat to put on at the right moment, when to be the visionary, when to zoom out and be the systems thinker, when to be the team's biggest cheerleader, and when to be the one who adapts the plan.
You can almost see how these roles flow into one another. It starts with being a steward who sets a clear vision. Then you use systems thinking to figure out what's really holding you back. You act as a people champion to empower your team to crush those constraints. And all along the way, you remain a pragmatic adapter, because you know the unexpected is always just around the corner.
So in the end, the ultimate quality isn't about being perfect at any one of these skills, but about skillfully blending all of them. A great project manager is a versatile leader who can respond to whatever the project throws at them. So I'll leave you with this question. As you think about your own projects and your own team, which one of these roles do you need to step into next?